So excited to have Michele join me to talk a little bit about her power play experience. Now, I will tell you, we often hear about people making connections online and how that can seem far fetched. But when you find a genuine connection online, it doesn't seem to matter how you met, even though it may be virtually. And I think that is true for Michele and myself. We made a connection. It's been a couple of years ago now, and we have been able to not only stay connected, but even move further in our relationship through power play. And so I'm so excited to have Michele join and talk about her experience. But before we jump into that, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone, Michele?
Yes. My name is Michelle Alexander. I am a wife, a mother of four boys, two that I actually birthed, and I have two bonus boys. I also have a grandson. I'm one of the oldest daughters out of six siblings, a friend, a career woman, all that wrapped up. I've been married to my loving husband, Joseph Joe, for 22 years now, and we reside here in South Jersey. We've been in South Jersey for 22 years. We're originally from up North Jersey, but we moved down here 22 years ago. So this is where we kind of settled that down here.
I didn't know you had all that testosterone around you there. Like you
Yes,
swimming to come up for air around all those gentlemen that are surrounding you. And so
yes,
I had no idea with so many. Like I knew it was some, but you talking about four boys and a grandson and a
yes,
husband. So that's a whole lot of testosterone. So my
yes,
hats go off to you, my dear friend.
yes.
So I talked a little bit about our connection, but I'd love to hear from your perspective how that all came to life.
I'm sure. Yep, absolutely. So a couple years ago, a friend of mine, Aisha Lovelace, had introduced me to the group of the First Wives Club. So it was online. It was like right before COVID. So I was like, okay, this seems interesting. And I remember seeing Aisha Latif as the spotlight. So when I read it, I was like, wow, this is cool. I was like, okay. So as I got in the group, Denise, of course, you would post and you always give, wisdom and, you had different things going on. And I saw it to be very interesting and also helpful, right? So, when you first get in a group, you're like, you don't want to say anything. But then when I saw, other women commenting and, I was like, wait, we all got the same stuff going on, just live in different states or different sides of the world. So automatically I felt comfortable in the group. It seemed to be very confidential, but again, we were still able to express ourselves. So as time went on, you then introduced Embrace Your Power and Go. So I kind of got in that group as well. So that's when the connection really came about. I took advantage of like all your free workshops, the love walk, couples week, just you having, different people on. And I just was like, wow, I was just learning and just growing at the same time. So the connection was definitely there. And I just met some really good people within the groups as well.
That is so awesome. And I appreciate you sharing that because when you're showing up and you're really just trying to be a light to other people and help other people, you wonder if it's resonating. But I always had a sense that I was connecting with you, and I appreciate you reaching back to me to let me know that
Yes.
that was happening. I don't know if you know how much that meant to me. I know you say I mean a lot to you, but I want you to know it also meant a lot to me to always know that it was resonating, that it was mattering to someone, and that it was making a difference. And you were always willing to give me that feedback. And so I want you to know that I appreciate it. And
No,
so
you're welcome.
thanks. And so
Yeah.
let's just fast forward. We get to power play. And by the time power play came around, oddly enough, you were already saying, Denise, you're my mentor. Denise, you're my mentor. And I'm kind of like, I haven't even introduced myself that way, but you began to recognize that quality in me in that relationship. What brought that about from your perspective?
Again, it was just you. you being honest, you being truthful, you being transparent with your own journey, right? So if you can't be honest with and share with the people on your platform, then who could you trust, right? So you never came across as, I did everything right in life. You were honest and you were transparent about how you got to where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made me say, you know what? She's my mentor. And you're right. I used to call you my mentor way before you became my mentor. And I used to tell everybody about Denise Taylor. But you were just truthful. You were genuine. And you always was willing to help. And for someone to do what you do and give up a lot of your time, that says a lot about you.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Power Play. So in June, I did a 30-day series, which was a challenge for myself. That's kind of how I forced myself out of the box, right? Because I talk a lot about hiding in plain sight, but that was where I was like, I'm going to make myself do it. I'm going to show up each and every day and I am going to share. And I did that. And I remember you reaching out and saying, I'm going to do it. Like, this is going to happen for me. What gave you that conviction to, sign up for the program beyond what you were already getting? What did you expect?
Okay. So the reason why I signed up it was three things. One, all the workshops that you had given for free. I was like, wait, if she's doing all this for free, I got to see what it is at a cost, right? And what I can get out of it. Two, I was kind of stuck, like stagnant, stuck in my career. And one of the workshops, I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of the young ladies that was on. And she basically said, if you want a promotion, you have to ask, you have to go for it. And I was like, wow. Oftentimes you think your employer is going to come look for you. But after listening to that workshop, that's what gave me the nudge to go in there with my pen and pad and say, da, 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 right? And then lastly, I just needed to do something for me for once. And I just took advantage of it. I took advantage of Power Play.
That is so awesome. And I don't know how you feel, but when we started, 60 days seemed like it would be forever. And we got to the end of it, and it
Yeah.
just seemed like it happened so quickly, going through that 60-day journey. And I tried not to overload it, right? But I wanted to put enough meat on the bone. So tell me a little bit about what stuck out to you from just the 60-day experience.
So from the 6-day experience, one, I found myself having to be committed to the program, right? Having to be committed to the program. Also being in the group with the other women, looking and listening to different perspectives on things, and just also knowing that whatever we came to Power Play for, that we all came for the same reasons, to be better us, right? Also, how the fact that you challenged us, and the two, Dr. Shante and John Hayes, having those extra mentors on and life coaches just speaking to us. So yeah, I learned a lot about myself during those times. And I was often challenged, with you and also with the other women that was in the group.
Yeah, it's so interesting how we always think it's going to materialize as, the top 3 steps I need to take. And then as you start on that journey, you're like, oh, this is a lot of mirror work. This is a lot of me work. And I want to know from you, did you feel like it was worth it? Did you feel like the work and the challenge and where you got to at the end of that journey was worth your investment in your time?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's why. You learn something new every day, right? But in Power Play, you actually learn you. You actually learned you. You actually learn things about you. Like for me, I remember we were in there and it was one of the sessions where you was like, dream big, like dream big. And I was starting to think about it. He was like, no, you're limiting yourself because you're already saying, well, why I can't do this? Why I can't do that? And I'm like, you know what? She's right. So if you dream big, it will come to pass. Of course, you have to do the work. So it was things like that made it all worth it. And then just listening to Dr. Shante, like I still quote her when she says, small changes makes huge impacts. Like, don't be so anxious. Just take one thing at a time. Like, pace yourself. And then also, with you, asking for help doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. So it was a lot that I learned, and I am so glad that I did the class. I really am.
Wow, that's incredible, Michele. And I can tell you definitely were hooked in there because you're like quoting things verbatim and you are beginning to, train yourself with them,
Yeah.
right? Because it's when you begin to take those little cliche statements and they become reminders, right?
Hmm.
In those moments where you're challenged to retreat, that you'll say to yourself, no, I can ask for help. Or those moments where you're challenged to be overwhelmed, you can say to yourself, no, I can focus in. And so I just love how you've been able to take it from just information to application and begin to encourage it. I know one of the things that was really valued by you was the community, was
Yeah.
meeting the other women. And I
Yeah.
know going in up front, it was like, oh, who are these ladies and how is this going to work? And now
Yeah.
coming out, there's a camaraderie there. Talk about that experience.
Yes. Okay. So the first day we had our session, I logged on and I was like, whoa. I was like, oh. So I was like, okay, I can do this. I can get this. But as time went on, we became, I guess, friends, right? Say, yeah, we became friends. Like you encouraged us to do, friend requests outside of the group. I learned a lot about Crystal. Roz is funny. She's, and even Elle and Denise and Sharon, and I too just recently went through, as you know, a scare with my husband, a health issue. And I tell you, you all got on the line, you prayed, you all checked in on me, and it was just like another sisterhood. So it really made me feel really well. In the beginning, I was, like I said, a little nervous, but as we went through those 60 days together, it was like we all connected.
Mm-hmm.
You all
That is
connected.
so awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That makes me feel really good because I want to make sure that we have safe places, right? When
Right.
you're showing up and you're being authentic and you're being transparent, you got to know that that place is safe. And it's almost one of those in the trenches moments kind of create that sisterhood. And I'm so glad that that translated and that we were able to be there for you to support you in that season. It's just been an incredible
Yes.
journey. Very,
Yes.
very incredible. So let me just close out with this. If you had to say to someone who you think this would be good for, who you would recommend it would be a great fit for in terms of power play, who would you say and who would you recommend it to?
I would recommend Power Play to anyone who is in the process of one, starting a business and need help navigating, someone who may just need that extra push in their career or their life or whatever they have going on. And also to anyone or any woman that just wants to better themselves, just want to do better, just learn, different things and just learn more about themselves. Um, it will take you being disciplined with the schedule, of course, Denise, with the schedule. But other than that, I would just say anyone who's just teetering with just being stuck and need that extra push.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I love it. Well, Michele, I appreciate you. And I hope that someday our hugs will be physical and not
I
just
know, right?
virtual, and
Right.
that we will be able to spend some time together and commune together and
Yeah.
celebrate together. I think that that would be wonderful. And I just thank you for trusting me.
Yes, I thank you for everything that you've helped me with. I really do.
All right.